Hey guys, I'm Becky and welcome to another episode of Read 'em or Read. Read 'em or Read is a series that I started at the beginning of this year to try and tackle all of the unread books on my unread shelves. We started the year with 166 books, and so far we have read 16, which means we have 150 books left on this bookshelf. Now, that number isn't 1000% accurate because I have unhauled quite a few, but we're going to determine that number at the end of the year. We'll figure it out where we are actually at later. So for now, we're just going to say that there's 150 books on the shelf. Now the goal is that for 1 week, once a month, I will be reading as many books as possible off of these shelves. I am trying to read at least 2 books. That is the hard goal, but I'm trying to read as many as possible. I also started this series with mood reading in mind because I am somebody who really likes to plan and have structure, but at the same time, I also like to mood read. I don't like being told what to read. So I think we have done it once so far in this series. This is episode 7. Everything else has been pretty planned out because of, X factors. But this month, I have not even looked at these shelves. I have not planned out what we are reading. I have no idea. We are just going to go in and mood read for once. So you may or may not realize, but I am in a different location in my library, and that is because I did in fact move my unread books. So originally, the unread books were the very first bookshelf, but I didn't like that my read book started here. There's a gap for the air conditioner, and then this one. So I did flip it around. My books don't technically fit now. So some of them are on my TBR cart. Some of them are double stacked, but it just is what it is. I know you're probably thinking, how on earth did rearranging give you less space? Number one, I have bought a couple books, but more importantly, the first 2 shelves are wider than this one. And my unread books actually filled up the entire first one and then wrapped a little bit into the second shelf. So I didn't realize, but it is what it is. All the unread books are mostly here. There are 3, I believe, that are on my TBR cart, but it just is what it is. So let us finally look at these books and decide what book am I going to pick up. I love you. So I am actually having a little bit of a hard time figuring out what I want to read. There are 3 that I'm immediately gravitating towards. So of course we do have Ruthless Vows, which I could listen to on audio. I really do need to read this. I don't know if this is the first book that I want to pick up, so this could be something else we read this week. I do also have The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. I was just talking at book club how I really liked Bride and Deep End and how I want to read her backlist now, and that I think even though they originally didn't appeal to me, that I could end up really liking them. So this one is kind of high up there. I feel like, I don't want to say it's higher up there than Ruthless Vows, but it's up there. And then one that I have been thinking about already of ooh, I could pick that book up is Wicked Little Rabbit by Samantha Moran. I actually met this author at a spooky craft show, and this book sounds messed up. It definitely has trigger warnings that are usually a hard no for me, but the author was very nice and I really wanted to support her and buy a book. So I decided to go ahead and buy this one. This is the one that she kind of recommended to me, but it's a lot. But at the same time, I kind of want to just read it and get it over with, because if it's not for me and I don't like it, I can just easily unhaul it and call it a day. So I think we might go ahead and go with this one. Okay, I think I have figured out what we are going to read. Also, apologies if you hear sizzling in the background. My husband is currently cooking dinner and I don't know how much sound this is picking up. Also ignore my bangs. They are pissing me off. They, on one hand, are partying on their own, wanting to be curtain bangs again, but then when I try to like make them curtain bangs, they end up going back together. They're just here to piss me off. That's what I have realized. So I think I may go back to curtain bangs just because, like, I don't know, for some reason they're just not doing what I want them to do anymore. They are acting like very limp. They're not curling very well. I'm annoyed. But let's talk about books. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do Wicked Little Rabbit. So like I told you, this one has some themes and topics and trigger warnings that are not my favorite, but I feel like we should just get this book out of the way. Let's go ahead and read the back of the book together, and you can kind of get a vibe for what we're getting ourselves into. Get wasted, get laid, and get the fuck over it. That's my friend Braxton's motto when it comes to life's trickiest problems. So when my cheating fiance leaves me just months before our wedding, he comes up with a simple plan to help me get over her. Go to the club, hit on the hottest chick I can find, and take her home. But it isn't Braxton's life on the line, it's mine, and when he departs early with his own prize, he leaves me stranded at the bar, alone, broken, vulnerable. Nothing is as it seems at the club either. Tucked away in an alley, hidden behind a nondescript steel door, the rabbit hole harbors plenty of secrets. The bartender is irresistible, the drinks are to die for, and no one misses you when you're gone. One night, buddied up to the bar, will change my life in ways I could never imagine. When I find myself in Wonderland, I should have stayed home. So that description alone, you're like, okay, that's not that bad. So it is a, like, reverse take on Alice in Wonderland. But let me read you the author's note, specifically the trigger warnings. So it says, the book contains passages with strong language and content related to dubious consent. Not good with that one. Rape, especially in chapters 23 and 25. Not great there. Evisceration, pseudo-cannibalism, kidnapping, medical trauma, mental illness, self-harm, alcoholic substances, drug use, inaccurate BDSM, blood, death, and more. If any of these topics are disturbing to you, you may not wish to proceed with this text. So those first two are usually my hard no's. Specifically the first one is my hard no. The second one depends on how it's done. Is it in a flashback? Is it not the love interest? What do you mean? What do you mean? But if it's done in a way, which I'm worried it's going to do because of the first trigger warning, that is my hard no. I feel like this is almost going to be like a Stockholm Syndrome kind of thing. That's never worked for me in the past other than Beauty and the Beast. And yeah, I don't know. So this could be like a crazy wild ride that I enjoy. It could be something insane and I can't look away. Or it could be horrible and I DNF it and we donate this somewhere. So we will find out together. I am technically reading a different book right now that I do need to finish. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go ahead and just like read 2 books at once or what. But as soon as I start this, I will let you know. I finally have a book update for you guys. It has been quite a few days since I started this vlog, and that's because I needed to finish that other book that I talked about, and it is now finally done. I finished it earlier today. Also, the bangs are banging today, but that's because I just got out of the shower and they are freshly blow dried. So I'm sure they'll piss me off later, but whatever. Wicked Little Rabbit. I have, in fact, started this earlier today. I am 54 pages in, which is that much, and it's only like 250 pages, so I only have like 200 pages left. And I will say this first 50 pages was very quick to get through. I think I was reading like a page a minute. But so far, I really don't have any concrete thoughts about this book just yet. I have some worries, some concerns, but I don't know. Let's talk about it. So like I said, this book has some crazy trigger warnings. And so far in the first 50 pages, nothing bad has happened yet. So we meet our character. Don't even remember his name. Actually, I don't even think we're told his name. So we meet our main character, and I'm pretty positive at this point we do not know his name. So the book is told in the past and the present. So there's some chapters that say now, some chapters that say then. And the very first chapter is our main character waking up in a hospital room, but like a psychiatric room, like a locked room. There's a bed that's like screwed to the floor, and like a doctor who is trying to get him to talk, and he is just like in He is in deep, serious panic about her finding him. And like in the present day chapters, like he is definitely like he's at a break with reality. He is freaking out. He doesn't remember his name or where he came from. He can't sleep or else she'll get him. Like just absolute mental break happening. So like those chapters are like very quick to get through because like he's really not saying much. Like it doesn't really make sense. The very first sentence is hushed whispers, more than one, maybe two, three, can't tell. They're outside of the room. Not my room, not my house, not home at all. Had home? Maybe. Think so? Not sure, can't recall. Understand idea, a safe space, a haven, comfortable, mine. Not this, not at home, just here, the room where they keep me, lock me up, hide me away, prison cell. No, not real prison, not jail, no bars, something different, something clinical, sterile, but where? I don't know. And then you have the then chapters, which is completely coherent. But I don't think, because like the only other character so far, besides like the doctor and the like guard that we have met so far in the current day chapters, the only other character we've met so far is his friend. I don't think he's a roommate. I think he's a friend. And I don't think he said his name once. So like I guess we're trying to figure out what his name is with him, which makes sense. But all that has happened is that he has gone to the bar where his life is going to be destroyed. Like we find out that he had a fiance, she broke it off, that he has been in like a really deep depression over the last 3 weeks, and his friend convinces him to go to this bar, and then he meets this really hot bartender who like you don't mess with. Like you can tell like she's not taking any of his friend's shit and stuff like that. And his friend like basically eggs him on to try to get with her. And then we have a couple chapters in present day where he is trying to piece together who he is and like learning how to talk and feeling safe again to try to sleep. And we're like kind of learning that like something very traumatic has happened to him. Like he's in a lot of pain. There are bruises and wounds all over his body. And he doesn't remember who he is. And he's just extremely terrified and panicked. So far, like, I'm intrigued. I want to know what's going to happen. But I'm very concerned because, like, this is feeling more like a drama or a thriller when it's supposed to be, like, this erotic novel. And if in the first chapter he is terrified of her, which I'm assuming she is going to be the person who he has these possibly non-consensual acts with, because when it comes to triggers, like, you never know in what sense they're meant. Because, like, it says that there's, like, dubious consent and rape. Like, those were the first 2 trigger warnings that were mentioned. But also at the bar, we see this girl who is, like, completely hammered. Like, can't stand up, can't get up once she sinks to the floor, completely blitzed out of her mind. And the roommate goes after her. And I was like, that's not consensual. And then they do have a conversation about it. Because, like, he's like, can you at least make sure she's all right before you try to do anything with her? Like, she's not in the state of mind. And the guy's like, I understand consent. I'll make sure that she, sobers up before we do anything. So I'm like, okay. Because I was like, maybe that was actually in regards to this situation. So I'm not sure. But also, like, he's terrified of this woman. He's terrified of her. And I don't know, like, I don't understand how that could be, like, a fun romance. Or if this is really more of, like, a fucked up, almost like horror novel. Like sexual horror novel? I don't know. I'm really concerned about what we're going to get ourselves into. Because like right now I'm like, okay, I'm easily going to breeze through this book. It's less than 300 pages. Like, it's not that bad so far. But also we haven't gotten to anything. And I'm like, if he's scared of her, how can this be a fun time? How can this be like a sexy, fun, pushing the boundaries time? It sounds like she is a predator. And I don't know if like it's fine because it's a guy. Whereas like if the roles were reversed, like this would not be a romantic novel in any sense. Like this wouldn't fall under any subgenre of romance. I don't know. So I'm concerned, but I'm intrigued. So I'm going to keep going because so far nothing has happened. And it seems like it's going to be a little bit until something actually does happen. Like I feel like it's going to be the last 50 pages or something, maybe the last 100 pages. Because right now, like it's very slow moving. He's very traumatized. And I'm like, if he's so messed up to a point where he's scared she's gonna find him, like, we can't have, like, hundreds of pages of torture, right? And supposedly this is a romance. I don't know. But I'm nervous. Just like that. The bangs are back, pissing me off. All right, whatever. Okay, hi. It is the next night, and we need to talk about this fucking book. So I am now on page 189. I think I only have like 50-ish pages left. I know I only have like 6 chapters, I think. So I think I'm gonna finish it. But, what is this? Okay, what is this? Straight to jail, in my opinion. Last time I updated you, I was like, so far so good. Maybe these trigger warnings aren't, as bad as they are gonna seem. Maybe something else is gonna happen. Yada yada. This morning I was going to update you, but I ran out of time before work. And I was like, I will just update them when I get home because I doubt I can finish it at work, which I did not. However, my opinions have changed. So first let me tell you what I was originally thinking. And then we'll talk about what's actually happening now. This morning I was going to update you that after I talked to you guys, let me turn you a little bit more, that after I talked to you guys, I did a little more research into the book. And by that I mean I read some of the bonus content. And nothing spoilery, okay? Chill out. There is an about the author part. There is also a Q&A. So I read the about the author and I found out, I read the about the author and I found out that she actually writes supernatural, horror, thriller, and fantasy, okay? So I was like, oh, so this is supposed to be like a thriller or a horror, not a dark romance like I was expecting. So I was like, okay. And then I was just reading the Q's part of the Q&A. And I read a couple of the answers for things that like weren't spoilery. So like one of the questions was, something about writing explicit sexual content for the first time in one of her books. So this is one of her first books where she included explicit sexual content. So I was like, okay, so this isn't what she's like known for then. And then there were some other cues that I was like, if I read those A's, I will be spoiled. So I did not. But I did that, and then I was going to come on here, and I then read like 100 pages last night. I stayed up way too late. I got like 4 hours of sleep before work. But I read like 100 pages more, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of into this now. Like I've changed my mindset, and I'm getting into this. Because where I stopped last night, we had just gotten our first sexual scene. So like 150 pages into this book, like 60% of the way through this book, we get our first sexual scene. And I was like, okay, this is kind of hot. This is fun. I am intrigued. Like I want to know more. And we did find out our main character's name and stuff like that. So I was going to update you and tell you like, hey, I found out that it's actually like a supernatural horror thriller fantasy, and that this is the first time she's ever included explicit content. So like this should be fun. And I was thinking like maybe at the end, like it is kind of like a horror in the sense of like, I was thinking like a silly, goofy kind of female energy kind of horror where it's like, she just had sex with him so well that he's terrified of her. I don't know. But yeah, I was getting into it. I was liking it. So I was going to update you and be like, okay, the tides have turned. I'm no longer scared. I'm into this. This is fun. Like, this is kind of sexy. So then today at work on my lunch break, I read like a chapter or 2 is all I was able to because everybody kept bothering me. Love that. I love that. And then it just got into full-blown rape. So I'm not going to spoil anything in case you want to check this out for yourself. But basically, like, it's consensual and everyone's having a good time, and then he finds out who she really is and it turns non-consensual, and then it continues to stay extremely non-consensual. Like, this isn't a gray area. This isn't like, oh yeah, I know that this is like, technically wrong, but like they'll fall in love later. Like, after reading these scenes, and I'm like, I'm not positive if it's over, because it's just like continuous sexual assault and physical assault. Like, the first chapter is him in present day where he has completely lost his mind, he is completely terrified, and he is completely traumatized. So like, this isn't a fun time. And then pairing that with the fact that like I now know that this could be like a true horror, I'm pissed. I'm honestly kind of pissed at this author because not because of what she wrote. Like, if I would have known that that's what this was going in, number one, I probably wouldn't have picked it up because I personally get a huge, like, ick and creep factor when there is explicit sexual content in like a horror thriller, especially when it's like a crime against a character, you know? Like, I don't find that stuff to be fun to read about. I don't think sexual assault is a silly, goofy time for a horror, and I feel like mostly men do that, you know? So if I would have known that, I would have just not picked this up. Like, I would have picked up like probably any of her other books because they wouldn't have contained this content, and I would have possibly enjoyed them because like the writing's good. I'm liking her writing style. But what I'm pissed about is specifically like I met this author in person. I was at like this spooky craft fair in Monroe, and this author was there, and I like just so happened to like walk by her table, and of course she's like, hi, how are you guys, yada yada. My mom was in a very chatty mood, so my mom was like chatting with her, and I was kind of looking at her books, and she's like, oh yeah, she's a huge reader, she's a librarian, and she was like, oh, what kind of books do you read? And I was like, right now, smut, and it was gonna go like one of two ways. Either she was gonna be like, oh, and I'd be like, great, I can get out of this interaction. Or she's gonna be like, oh my god, I write smut, this is for you. And the second thing happened. She was like, oh, awesome, have I got the book for you? And she like shoved this into my hands, and then she was like, oh, it's a like gender bent Alice in Wonderland retelling kind of thing, and there's very explicit content in it, and yada yada yada. My mom's like, oh, do you want it? And I'm like, I can't say no. Like that's awkward because I'm not a huge, like, I love the Disney film Alice in Wonderland, the cartoon, the animation, love it, but I'm not like an Alice in Wonderland girly. Like, I'm not looking for retellings. I just like that one animated Disney film, and that's like the extent that it goes for me. So once I knew it was that, I was like, this is not really exactly my thing, but I didn't know how to say no, because it's like, well, if I say like, oh, I don't know about this one, then, maybe I'll then need to find one of her other books and hope that one of those work for me or something. Before you come at me and you're like, you could have just said no. You could have just been like, no, and moved on. Like, I don't like doing that, especially to authors. Like, she put some work into this, and that just felt rude. And so I was like, sure. So like she personalized it and signed it, and then she also, like, this is we're getting to the part that like I'm pissed about. She then also gave me like a bookmark, and then she gave me, it also came with a little explicit art print of a scene from this book. And when I saw it, I was like, whoa, like that's crazy. And I was like, this book, like I was telling you guys, like it has some trigger warnings that I'm like, this might be too dark for me, because like I haven't gotten comfortable yet with like true dark romance, So I was like, oh, I'm nervous now, especially seeing this scene illustrated. What pisses me off is that I tell you I'm into smut, which is a romance genre, by the way. It's not just I'm into hardcore explicit sexual scenes. Like, in a romantic setting, I'm into that. Not in every setting, especially horror. I'm not a fan of sexual assault. So the fact that like you had me thinking, which like it might not have been her fault, but then there's something else that I'm like, or is it her fault? Because like maybe she does, maybe we have two differing definitions, and she thought that I meant what she meant and was like, oh, you'll really like this is my first explicit scene. And like I said, it started out hot and then it quickly turned not. So like I wouldn't be pissed if it was like maybe we just have two differing definitions of what smut means. But the part that I'm like, actually I don't think so, I think she knew exactly what she was doing, and that kind of concerns me, is the art print that she gave me. The art print wouldn't be so bad and wouldn't be so damning if it was a scene of a consensual act, because the scene that it depicts is after the consent has been taken away and is now full-blown sexual assault. So you commissioned, I don't know if she commissioned, okay, but she's giving out an art print of the sexual assault, the brutal sexual assault that happens in this book, and then gives it to a girl who's like, oh yeah, I like smut. It's like, oh my god, have all this stuff. Like, this isn't a hee hee ha ha moment. Like, it'd be one thing if it was just like an art print of the characters, or again, the consensual part, But I feel like you need to warn somebody that like I write body horror, because that's what's happening in this book, is body horror and sexual assault on 2 different degrees, because like we do have that scene at the beginning, which is then mentioned by the villain in this book, of like, oh, you let your friend take home that drunk girl, she couldn't consent. And the villain does bring up of like, oh, you wanted to do these things to me, how do you like them when they're done to you? But then it's in an extreme, violent, sexual manner without consent. And it's not like a, you know, in his head he's saying no, so how would she know? For one, she can read minds. I'll spoil that for you. But for two, it's very apparent. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's getting off on what she's doing. I don't know. I'm just pissed that I feel like the author knew full well what she was handing me, and I did not know full well what I was getting into. And now I'm like, do I keep, like, at this point there's only a couple chapters left, so I kind of want to just see, like, how is this going to end? Why would I even want to read book 2? Which, like, I don't, hopefully. But there is, like, this is part of a series. I don't know if the series has continued already, but I know that it's part of an ongoing series. So, like, I'm curious to, like, how is this going to end? I think that I have made it through the bulk of it, which, like, luckily was graphic and brutal and horrible, but I'm glad that it, like, it could have gone on and on and on in gory detail, and I felt like it was gory enough. I will say, like, at least from my perspective, like from my personal and female perspective, I'm glad that this is a gender bent version of this book, because I don't know if I could have made it through as well reading it happening to a woman, just because, you know, like, I can much, well, I don't know what I'm saying, honestly. But yeah, like, again, what we were talking about earlier of, like, is it okay because it's a man? And I'm not, like, actually asking you and wondering, like, it's not. The answer is no. But, like, is that why this is okay to be? I don't know. I need to look this book up and find out, like, what is the average rating that this book is getting? What are people saying about it? Because, I mean, like, I'm somebody who, like, you know, I like to be shocked and terrified by, like, you know, horror books and things like that. You know, body horror is something that I have wanted to kind of explore, because I know that it'll really freak me out. But also, like, it's a delicate tightrope, because I know, like, some stuff I'm just not going to be able to handle. But it's just, like, it's a major choice to include sexual assault in there. Like, we didn't have to do all that. We didn't have to take it as far as we did, also, by the way. But then it's like, does that make her a great author because she did push the envelope and go there? I don't know. So, those are my thoughts. Like, the roller coaster that this book has had me on, of like, I'm really nervous about this, I think I'm going to DNF it, to like, oh no, I'm actually, like, really, really enjoying this. Like, oh no, I'm really, really not enjoying this, but I'm going to finish it. So, like, where does this ride end? And also, like, just the conflicting feelings of, like, but this is a good author. Like, I'm enjoying her writing style. For the most part, like, this is very well edited. I'm liking the pacing, like, but it's just, like, once I got to the actual explicit content of this book, I was like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. And, like, you know, obviously I could have done my own research. Like, the blame isn't fully on the author. Like, I could have done my own research and found out the genres of this book. I could have, I don't know. I was going to say, like, maybe I should have realized from the description on the back, but it could be read 2 different ways. Because, again, I totally thought I was walking into a dark romance, which I was nervous originally when I got it, because I was like, I am not a dark romance girly. Like, there are some dark romance that I can get into, but I haven't found, like, that perfect recipe that works for me every time. Like, for the most part, dark romance is too much for me. For the most part, it's too much. So I was already, like, nervous going into it, and then to find out, like, oh, this isn't at all what I was expecting, and it's so much worse. It's so much worse, because I feel like, at least if it was a dark romance, there would be this argument of, like, you know, but they fall in love, but it is kind of consensual, but, you know, he is enjoying himself, whereas this is just like, this is wrong, we know it's wrong, and we're just gonna keep doing it. Like, so that's my update. I am gonna try to go ahead and just finish this really quickly, and then we can move on to something so much better for me. Hello, guys. I keep coming to you late at night in the living room. So I did decide to change the angle because I think we've been on the other side of the living room lately. But yeah, I looked so nice earlier because I had a baby shower and a birthday party to go to today. But I did in fact start my period today, so I'm living my best horrible life. I'm in a lot of pain, a lot of pain. It's starting to subside a little bit, so I don't know if my meds have kicked in or if maybe I'm over the worst of it. Because day 1 and 2, like there's usually like a full like 24-hour period that's just like really, really bad. And I feel like I might have endo, but not positive. So anyways, let's talk about Wicked Little Rabbit. So after I talked to you yesterday, I did in fact go and finish this. And I'm feeling so conflicted on this book. I'm feeling so conflicted because it was kind of a really good book. Like, well, not a really good book, but it was a good book. Like, I really like the writing style. I think the storytelling was really good. I just did not like the explicit sexual content featured in this, which her other books do not feature that. And I just wish I would have known that it was that going in. And I could have done my own research and, you know, double check the genres, but like, I told this author I like smut. She was like, have I got the book for you? And this is not smut. Okay? This is not smut. So, what are my thoughts? The ending of this book is pretty wild. Okay? It's pretty wild. But also, like, good. And I'm, like, partially tempted to read book 2. But if book 2 also has the same trigger warnings and explicit content, I don't want to read it. You know what I mean? Like, I am curious for like where the series is going to go because this chapter of the series definitely has a conclusion. There is a conclusion. But then there's room for a book 2. And I'm curious, but yeah, I'll definitely have to see the trigger warnings on it. As far as a rating, I think I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think I will. And I am definitely going to put like a descriptive review on Goodreads and Storygraph. Well, I don't know about on Storygraph. I never do on Storygraph. But at least on Goodreads, I will put a descriptive review saying it would probably get like a 3 point something or maybe even a 4. No, actually no. I think no matter what, this is a 3-star book because I feel like if I went into it knowing that it was this sexual horror, it would probably get a 3 point something. But like that, those triggers are my triggers for a reason. You know, like I just can't read that. It's just not something I find fun or I'm into. Like, it's just not a good time. So I don't think it would get anything higher as far as a rounded out number of stars other than a 3, even going into it knowing exactly what it is, but also not knowing what it was, but just really appreciating the author. It's a 3-star book. So yeah, I think a solid 3 is good for this. I think that's totally fine. I will be reaping this book. I'm not going to be adding it to my red shelves, but I definitely plan on putting a sticky note in the front because it is personalized and signed to me. But I will be putting a sticky note to say, like, this is a supernatural horror thriller with sexually explicit scenes with these trigger warnings. So, like, that nobody else goes, like, people know what they're getting into. Because, like, I feel like if you read the back of the book, you're kind of, I mean, like, the description is accurate. But paired with this cover, it looks like it's a dark romance. And even the fact that, like, on the back is, like, we call her the Queen of Hearts, Allison is a man-eater, quote, there are hearts underneath it. So again, like, it's giving the mirage that this is a dark romance. And it is very much not a dark romance. It is very much a supernatural horror thriller fantasy. Not a romance. No romance in sight. Okay? So, I'm definitely going to put a warning in it. And then, I'm almost like, do I... Because my plan was to maybe put it in like a little free library or something. But I'm almost thinking of donating it to an indie bookstore. But also like telling them, like, this is not what it looks like. But it's not going on my red shelves. So, let's go and pick our next book. Alright folks, we are doing it. We are reading The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. I am very excited. I'm very, very excited. I am anticipating this to be a 5-star read. Which, like, as I'm saying it, I'm like, it's probably going to get a 4. But I am, like, I had no intention of ever reading this book or even the other books in the series until I finally read an Hazelwood, which was Bride, and now Deep End, and I'm just like, yeah, I need to read her earlier books because I bet they're really, really good. So I am hesitantly anticipating that this will get 5 stars. I think at the lowest it'll get 4. I really feel like that's the lowest it's going to get for me. But I'm very much in the mood for this. I just really want like a fun, romantic time. And I think this is going to give that to me. What is interesting is that this originally was a Raylo, is that how you say it? I don't know. Fanfic, which is Rey and Kylo Ren, if I'm not mistaken, from Star Wars. It was a fanfic, and it has now been published, so everything about it has been changed in order to be published. So I am excited. I have downloaded the audiobook because I think that's how I want to read it. At least right now, I think that's how I am anticipating wanting to read it. So who knows if I will switch to physical. One thing that I did not expect was I did not expect how long this book is. I mean, it's under 400 pages. Oh, actually, it's only 352 pages with the epilogue. So maybe it's just like big font. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is larger adult font and also pretty thick and sturdy pages. So that makes sense because I was like, this seems like a 400 plus page book, but especially Wicked Little Rabbit was like 250, and it is almost 3 times bigger, but not 3 times bigger in page count. Good morning, guys. I am about to leave for work, but I want to talk to you really quick because I do have a rating update. Also, I didn't show it, I don't think, in the clip from last night when I was picking out a book, but I totally forgot that yes, these are all my unread books on this case now, including a stack over here, but I also completely forgot that over here, where this is, can you even see that? No, you can. Where this is, that begins my unread. So this is all unread, and then we have Sarah J. Maas, and then all of this is also unread. So let's try not to forget that in the future, when I'm looking for books, that there's also a shelf and a half that I also have to choose from as well. But anyways, I did start The Love Hypothesis. I only stayed up an hour later than I should have. I was very proud of myself because I was like, I do need to go to sleep. But I am on chapter 9, which is 152 pages through it. I am using my nice parking spot Rita bluey bookmark that my best friend got me because I am loving this book. I am loving this so much. Like, I'm having such a good freaking time. Normally, like, when it comes to, like, age gap, professor, that kind of thing, it's usually not really for me. However, the age gap is not very consequential. Like, they're both adults. I think she's 26 and he's 36. He is not her professor in any capacity. He has no dominion, if you will, over her, which I feel like that is always the case in like these teacher taboo romance novels. He has nothing to do with her, and he has already like talked to HR about it. He has even said like in the event that for some reason there could be something that I would have a responsibility for when it comes to you, I would excuse myself from that because that's not okay. So like it's very like fine. But even like with that stuff, it's not bothering me at all. Like they are both very respectful and responsible, and like I am just having such a good time because we are not getting his point of view, but we obviously, it's a romance book. They're going to fall in love. We know that. That's what's going to happen at the end, is they will be in love. At least we sure hope so. But I'm not getting his point of view, but there are certain times that I'm like, how is he feeling? Like she keeps saying things, because she's kind of like oblivious. She's a very logical and straightforward thinker. But when it comes to like romance, she doesn't have a ton of experience in it. Like she is very like her research, her career first. and then a relationship secondary. Like, she mentions that she thought she might be asexual, but now she realizes that she just has to have like a deep emotional connection with somebody before she starts to get any feelings. And she hasn't realized yet that she's having feelings for him. Like, she's just like, I'm getting this weird feeling in my belly, you know? And then she's like, holy crap, he's ripped. And she's like, but yet there's another guy with his shirt off and I don't feel anything towards him. And I'm like, girl! Like, it's just so good. And there's certain times where I'm like, what I was getting to was that sometimes she will make a comment that like his jaw is clenched or he kind of seems uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, because he's fighting his attraction for you. And there's also like this hidden identity element as well, because something happened before they officially met and she doesn't know that that was him. So I'm just having a good time. There's also been a one chair trope. Never realized that that was something that I'd be like, oh my god. But it's basically like the one bed trope, except for you're in a crowded room and there's no seats, so you have to sit on his lap. And I was just dying. I was dying. And she's like, oh, he seems so uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, but she doesn't understand why he's uncomfortable. It's not because she's too heavy or he doesn't like this. He's liking it too much, babe, and he is in a room filled with students and peers. At least I assume, because we're not getting his point of view. I love it. I'm loving this. So, April, tonight is speed dating with books, so I'm probably going to tell you in person, but we gotta read this chick's backlog because this is so good. And I'm pretty sure this is the one that the movie is coming out for. So I'm very excited that I am reading it because now I can watch the movie and understand. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm getting ready to go and get my nails done with my mother, but I wanted to update you guys because I'm pretty far. So I'm on page 290 of the Love Hypothesis. I just have this little sliver left. And guys, I'm obsessed. I am loving this so much. I told you that yesterday when I updated you. I'm loving it so much. I just got to, I think what's going to be the third act breakup. I think that is what has just happened. And for the first time, maybe not the first time, but I feel like in a rare occurrence, I am not minding the third act breakup that much. Because, like, it is, I wouldn't say it's a miscommunication. I mean, it is a miscommunication, but it's not your traditional one where you're like, if you would just talk to each other, this would all get worked out. Like, it kind of started that way, but something, like, really horrible was just said to her by somebody who is trusted, is all I'll say. And so now she's just, like, questioning everything and, you know, what to believe. But also, like, Adam just divulged something very serious from his past. And I'm like, this is not, you know, obviously not the same situation, but like a similar scenario where he's like, we never said anything because we were scared no one would believe us. And I'm like, that makes him more sympathetic to be like, it's more likely he's going to believe you. Even though I know this person is a trusted person and the possibility is still there. So I'm like, I get why this could be, like, I haven't confirmed this is the third act breakup, but I'm like, this is going to be the third act breakup, is where I ended. But yeah, like, to me, it makes sense. If it was just what was already happening in terms of, like, you know, not sharing our feelings because, you know, this was an arrangement and yada yada, I don't know if they feel the same. Like, I mean, I'm loving the book so much, I feel like that wouldn't even bother me that much like it does normally. But this new added factor, I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense to me. Like, I also would be worried that people wouldn't believe me. But, for one, I think the issue is with Adam believing her or not, honestly, because I think literally anyone else would believe her. But there's two factors that play into this that I feel like could and will happen. Number one, we know of another person who, like, kind of warned her about this person. So I feel like something has happened with them possibly, or they know of something, or they just get a bad vibe about this person. But, like, they could be a really good ally. And I feel like regardless, they might come out as an ally once this comes out. The other thing is I'm pretty positive this interaction was recorded. And I don't know how she hasn't pieced it together, but I feel like what's going to happen is she's going to send the recording accidentally, because that wasn't the purpose of why it could be recorded, to either Adam or somebody else, and that's how it's going to get out. Because Adam did ask for it, and she hasn't sent it yet, but I'm also like, how do you not realize? Oh my God. I mean, I guess you're so distraught because that was super fucked up what said to her. Super fucked up. So maybe like when she realized that she didn't do something, maybe it's like that's, you know, that's not even on her brain to like click those things into place. But I have hope that everything's going to work out. I just know, without getting his point of view, I just know so much in my heart to be true. But yeah, just absolutely loving it. I cannot believe that I'm sleeping on this book. Like I mean, it makes sense because like that's what I do. But I'm just so happy that I picked this up because I'm really, really liking this book a lot. I can't wait to like see the movie adaptation, and I can't wait to read more Allie Hazelwood. And I'm just so happy that like somebody literally donated this book to the library, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that because I feel like I love it so much I want it on my shelf. I mean, I'm 75% of the way through it, so like there's still time for it to go badly, but I just don't see it. I truly just don't see it happening because I'm just loving every single second of this book. So as far as what I'm going to read next, and also how long this is going to be, because like we're flying through books right now. I mean, they are shorter books, but still, it's happening. But as far as what to read next, I think I might let this vlog go on a little bit longer because like we truly didn't start it until what, Friday, I think? Yeah, we didn't really start it until Friday. So I feel like I should let it go until Friday or finish 2 books is kind of my idea. So I do have one book in mind because I was sent a book to help publicize it. The author I've had at my library do talks and different presentations, and I own the first 3 books of hers that have come out. They're all nonfiction, like haunted places, and I think I've shown them before on the channel if I'm not mistaken. But I own her first 3, and her 4th book came out today. So she contacted me and was like, hey, would you like a copy to like help promote it? I'd really appreciate it. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I did just post something on my Instagram feed. I know, who is she? I know. But then I also planned on like featuring the book. Once I finish this, which I'm going to do today for sure, I think I might talk about the New Orleans one with you, but then read the Detroit one and talk about that with you guys. And then I think we'll have time to fit in one more book. Just one more. That's all I'm asking. I'm asking a lot, but like not really. I think that looks fine. Probably. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, that's fine. My tag showing. God, can I even tuck that in? There we go. Jesus. Okay. I am gonna go get my nails done. This is what they currently look like. I have no idea what I'm getting today though, so I gotta figure that out. Alright guys, first let's get a peek of the nails. Very bold. I love them. So let's talk about the Love Hypothesis. I did in fact finish it, and it is getting 5 out of 5 stars. This was excellent. It was excellent. It ended exactly how I thought it was, how I was hoping it would. I just really, really loved it. This was just so good, and I don't know why I thought that like STEM romances would be like too, I guess like sterile. I don't know. It feels like whenever you introduce something else into a romance, whether it's like, you know, fantasy or whatever, like you get a whole lot of that, and then there also happens to be a romance. And I felt like when it came to STEM romances, it would be like the same way, where a lot of it would just be like maybe over my head, like maybe I wouldn't be exactly smart enough to read it, or I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, get back to the romance. But this was actually really, really good. And I know like Allie Hazelwood isn't the only author who is writing STEM romances, but she's like the author for STEM romance, you know? And I just really, really liked it. It's opened my eyes to be like, actually, just because it says it features STEM, it doesn't mean it's going to be boring in any sort of way. And I will definitely be reading the other books by Allie Hazelwood. Like to the point where if I owned another one, that would be what we're picking up next. Which I do technically own one on audio. But I think it's like later in, because I think this is a series technically. I don't know. But I think if it is a series, it's later on down the road. And that is not what Read 'em or Reap is about. So 5 out of 5 stars. Possibly going to be my favorite book of the month, but I do have some like really fun plans for the month after we finish this vlog, so we will see. But amazing, amazing, amazing. So now what we are going to read next. I think I'm going to do what we talked about this morning in the bathroom. And I think I am going to go ahead and go with a nonfiction. So just in case I haven't talked about these books on my channel, even though I feel like I definitely mentioned them, I just don't know if I actually like talked about them, or at least all of them or anything. But let's introduce you to these books. So here they are. Like I said, very, very short, very palatable. They have pictures, like there's good stuff here, people. But they're all by Nicole Beauchamp, which I hope that is how you say her last name. I say Beauchamp. I think that's technically how it might be pronounced, but it could also be Beauchamp or 1,000 other ways. So I'm just going to keep saying Beauchamp until somebody corrects me. So the first book that she wrote was Haunted Bay City, Michigan. I also really, really enjoy the covers of her books as well. Then she came out with Haunted Detroit, Haunted Bars and Pubs of Michigan, and then today she came out with Haunted French Quarter Hotels. Now you can find this one especially, but I would also assume all the rest of them. They're all available online. I'm not sure what stores carry them physically, if any do, but I do know, like, basically you name a place, you can find it there. It is available on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, Arcadia Publishing. I think Nicole might even have like a website, but I feel like it probably goes to Arcadia. But yeah, you think of a place that sells books, you can probably purchase this as well as her backlog as well. So I did want to include a little plug that this book came out today. It does sound really, really interesting, but I think the one that I'm going to go with, which obviously you don't have to read these in order or any, like they're not related to each other. I think the one that I'm going to go with is Haunted Detroit, because I feel like I will know a lot of the places that she is talking about, and I did have her at my library to talk about this book specifically, so I already kind of have like a background. So I think we're going to go ahead and go with that. Even though like the other ones do sound really, like there's a part of me that wants to go in publishing order, and then there's a part of me that wants to read the newest one, but we're just going to go with book 2. That's fine. I mean, it's not really, it's her book 2, but it's not the book 2. You guys know what I mean. You know what I mean. So yes, Haunted Detroit. I am going to start this tonight. I'm about to go take a shower, and then I think I'm going to try and read some of this. The goal is to finish this tomorrow, and then tomorrow start our final book. So wish me luck. I am pretty excited about picking this up because not only is it fun to, like, you know, help out local authors and your community, but I have been meaning to read more nonfiction. Like, the soft goal was to read 1 a month this year, and the hard goal was to try and read at least 5, and I've read 1. I've DNF'd another, but I've only read 1. So this is just helping us out, you know? Hi, long time no see. I was thinking, and I was looking at my summer reading challenge for my library, and I was like, oh, let me see if there's any prompts I should think about for the next book that I could use for summer reading. And actually, I can check off a couple from some of the books that we've already read, which is great. But then we also have the prompt to let someone or something choose your next read. So I was thinking, how about I pick out 2 books and then put a poll on Instagram, and then that will be the next book. So let's pick those out. Okay, the goal was to pick out 2. I had 2 in my head, and those two are still in the running. But then I found 2 others, and I think I've narrowed it down to 3. I feel like 3 is just a really good number for a poll, so it's also my favorite number. We're gonna go with 3. The first option is Gothikana by RuNyx. I don't know. This book sounds really good. I have been told I need to read it. I obviously own it because it was this very beautiful, stunning edition, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. It has a really nice end papers, this very pretty embossing detail. Anyways, it is a dark romance, and it is, I think, a student teacher, but it's also a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I don't know. I'm nervous, but I feel like this should be in the running. Then we have How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. This book was like a really big deal on TikTok, I think, is where it kind of like really sparked everything. I've heard it's really good. You gotta read it, yada yada. Again, more on the darker side, much darker than I was anticipating after reading the description. It could be amazing. It could be amazing. And then my third option, which I'm honestly a little surprised that I'm putting this in the running, but I was like, you know what? I think I am kind of in the mood, and this one does sound good. It is Say It's Forever by A.L. Jackson. This is book 2 in the Redemption Hill series, which we read book 1 maybe in April, I want to say. I think it was the April Read 'em or Reap. I don't know. Like, the first book was good. It was like very angsty though. This one sounds like it could be fun. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like the first book because like the description is very similar. Like we have another single parent, but this time I think it's the girl who's a single parent. We have troubled past coming to haunt us, a guy who doesn't believe that he deserves love, and it does also have forced proximity, which again kind of had in the first one as well. So I don't know. So I think that those will be the 3 books that I put into a poll to see what we should end up reading. So I am going to go take my shower, start Haunted Detroit, and then update you guys with what has won the poll once we finish Haunted Detroit. It has been a couple days, but I've made some great progress. And while it is Saturday, I'm going to finish this last book and then we will close out this vlog. So I don't know if I updated you. I feel like I didn't, but Haunted Detroit. I did in fact read this. I feel like I did not update you at all about my thoughts, but this was actually pretty good. This was pretty good. As somebody who doesn't normally read nonfiction, like, this wasn't bad at all. If you are somebody who reads nonfiction and this is like a typical day, you're probably gonna absolutely love this and give it 5 stars. Me personally, I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. And I know that that sounds bad, but honestly it's not. Like a 3-star means it was good. It was okay. I did enjoy the variety that was in this book. There are some places that were really well known. There are some places that I had never heard of. I will say, as somebody who is from the Metro Detroit area, if you will, somebody who is in the suburbs of Detroit, I think is technically what downriver is considered. I don't know. It was a little bit annoying that like it's called Haunted Detroit, but then we had like Pontiac and we had, I can't think of the other, it might have been Royal Oak. I'm not sure. But like those aren't Detroit. Detroit is Detroit. So if it was called like Haunted Metro Detroit, I mean, I get it. But it is like, it's just like a pet peeve of mine when someone is like Detroit, but they actually mean a city that is not Detroit. Like, you know, that's just a small pet peeve of mine that has nothing to do with this author or really this book. But it was just something that I was like, I thought about going ahead and bumping it up to 4 stars because like this was really good and I would recommend this to a lot of people and I plan on reading her other books, especially because I own them. But as somebody who's not like really into history, that's where I struggled with this book. This really dives into the history of Detroit, how it was founded and stuff like that. And for some people, you're really going to eat that up and you're really going to appreciate that. I appreciated it for the fact of like, Nicole does her research. This isn't just like a, hey, supposedly this place is haunted and here's the stories. It's, here's the history behind this place and why that adds more credibility to this place being haunted. And I really appreciated that. But for somebody who's not really into history, I was a little bored. I was a little bit bored. And that's just on me. So like, I hate I hate so much that I'm not giving this book like a 4 or 5 star because I was contacted by Nicole to feature her books, and that sucks, but it's just not my thing, you know? And that's fine, and I have to be honest, you know? So it is a 3 out of 5 stars, but I highly recommend you check this out, especially if you are somebody who is into history, who's into nonfiction, who wants some fact with your possible fiction. You know, if you don't believe in ghosts. I do. I believe every word said in these books. The only other criticism I did have was I really loved the pictures that are included in here, but I wish that there were more pictures that are mentioned in here. And I'm thinking that they weren't included because Nicole herself didn't take them, because the photos that we do have of evidence, Nicole took them. So I'm thinking because she didn't take them, because she can't say with any sort of 100% fact that that is a real authenticated photo, that's why they weren't included. But it would have been nice to see them because they are mentioned. And I will say, I think it's the last place mentioned. Let me check. Okay, just kidding. It's like the 5th to last. It's literally, it's like halfway through the book. Behind the Veil, which talks about Elmwood Cemetery. Nicole, you're nuts. You are nuts. Because this story is mostly about a statue that is supposedly like extremely haunted, and this poor woman that is talked about in this story is just completely traumatized. Her life is ruined, honestly. And I was like, Nicole, you crazy bitch. And I mean that respectfully, by the way. I mean that so respectfully. Why on earth did you go there and take pictures of it? Like, your whole life could have been ruined. That's crazy. That's wild. I have such respect for you, but I would never. Like, I was even scared to look at the photos too closely. And you're just out here taking photos. Wild. Wild. So yes, I did finish it. I did enjoy it. I'm sorry that it's not higher for me, but that's me. And that's how you know that I'm telling the truth about all the books I talk about. So then, I did do a poll for what book I should read next, so that way I could mark it for my summer reading. And the results were Gothikana by a landslide, in my opinion. Now this book, I think I told you guys, I was nervous to go into it because it is a student-teacher relationship. And I will say, that's usually something that I'm like, I don't know. But sometimes it works. Like Zodiac Academy, I'm here for it. I don't care. I'm here for it. I thought it was something I wasn't into, and then I read Zodiac Academy and I was like, I don't care. They're soulmates. When it comes to Gothikana, there is again a reason why it's okay, in my opinion. So the professor in this story, it is her professor, which is interesting. We had another professor-student relationship in this vlog, the love hypothesis. How interesting. Another one that I was totally fine with. Maybe I'm okay with it. I feel like there's tons that I'm not okay with. In this one, he is her professor. However, he is also a PhD student. So he himself is a student, and the professor, I can't remember exactly what happened to him. I don't know if he unexpectedly left or if he just left. Maybe we'll find out by the end of this what actually happened to him, or maybe it's non-consequential. But he leaves somehow, and this PhD student takes over for the class. He gets permission to take it over, and that's how he becomes her teacher. Now, he is the professor before she starts, so it's like she's fully his student, but there's like not that big of an age gap between them, and yeah, I feel like it's not that big of a deal. So I did in fact start Gothikana, if you were confused. And I am now 50% of the way through it. Why am I like leaning over instead of just moving it to the side? I'm 50% of the way through it, and I am really liking it, but guys, this book is wild. This book is dirty. It's filthy. Like, I was not expecting, it is a dark romance, and I should have been expecting it, but my friend Anne has been telling me to read this book, and she normally does not read this kind of stuff, so I was flabbergasted when I started it with just how dirty it is. And I was like, Anne read this? Which I did then message her, and she was like, yeah, I'm getting into some darker stuff, which good for you, Anne. Good for you. It's filthy. It's wild. My best friend Ro also has this book on her shelves at home, and I think she's gonna return it because this is not for her. She will blush herself to death, in my opinion, but it is really good. I am enjoying it. It is crazy. It is extremely angsty, and I am listening to the audiobook, which I have switched to reading the ebook I only switched to it, honestly, because I left my earbuds at work. Traumatic, I know. So I did switch to reading the ebook version of it because it is available on KU, and as you know, bulk of my reading gets done at night, so it's easier to just read on an e-reader. I honestly prefer ebooks. I know, blasphemous, and then I have my little trophies on my shelf. The audiobook isn't bad. It's, well, okay, so the audiobook isn't the worst, but it's not the best. The narrators are okay. I will say the male voice that the female narrator does, it's not great. It isn't great. And you know, I've talked about it plenty of times on here. I feel like this is like the third time that I have brought it up. But that TikTok sound that's like over the top, and it's like, the evil fairy locked me in a dungeon. Like, I feel like that is very close to how this book is portrayed on the audiobook. It's a bit much. It's a bit dramatic, but at the same time, like, the book is also like over the top, melodramatic, angsty. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. So, like, I don't fault it for it, but it is a little bit wild. So I don't know if I'm gonna stick with the ebook at this point. I might, but then I might just listen to the audiobook out loud, even though it is just raunchy. And I will say, I didn't realize that the pictures that are in the ebook one are also in the physical edition. So like at each chapter, there is like a picture with a quote, and in the ebook, like the picture's by itself and then the quote's by itself, and it makes a lot more sense that it's supposed to be like overlaid, but I guess that didn't compute in the ebook, because it looks much better in real life. Seeing it in the ebook, it felt a little bit cheesy, because I was like, what is this? But it actually looks really nice in the physical edition. So now I totally get it. I don't remember, I think it does, but I can't fully remember if the quotes are said in the audiobook. But probably, right? Probably. But yes, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to finish it. I'm excited to finish 4 books in this episode with you guys. Like, that's crazy. But it is absolutely filthy. Shocking things are happening. Like, we just had a death, and I was very shocked. Like, that's crazy. I have some suspicions about what is going on with her, but I have, like, 0 theories on who Mo is right now. Nothing up here. No theories. But yeah, once I finish it or something crazy happens, I'll update you again. Alright guys, it is time to close out this episode of Read or Reap, which means I did in fact finish Gothikana. So I have been wrestling with this for a few days now. It is currently Tuesday. I finished it on Sunday, but I kind of needed to just sit with it before closing this out to figure out what I am rating it. And I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars on Goodreads, but like maybe 3.5, 3.75 at the highest on Storygraph. Now usually when I'm going that high up on the quarter stars, it usually then bumps it to a 4. But in my heart, this is just not a 4-star. Like, it really feels like a 3-star. So surprisingly, I am understanding where some people are coming from, where like they are usually a smut reader, but they're saying like there's just too much smut in a book. And like, I kind of feel that with this one, because while like I am not afraid to read a sex scene, I look forward to it, it's fun, it's a good time, this just felt like they were in here too often, too graphically, and for no good reason. Like, a couple of them like had a purpose, like the first time they get together, the first time that they sneak around, like things like that. But then it was just like all the time, like even if they didn't go into detail, they're like, you know, we've had sex twice a day, every day since. And so, what? Like, come on. So that was definitely a little bit of a negative for me. I also, like I told you guys, I really did not like the voice actors for the audiobook, mainly the female one, I don't know. But like, this book was interesting, it kept me intrigued. There's definitely like a murder mystery kind of aspect to it, and that kept me going. I was interested in that. And I will say there is a twist at the end that I did not see coming, so that was fun. But I don't know, like, I just wanted the book to be over. And I know that like I have some plans for some really fun new releases this month, but I don't think it was just that. Like, if I'm loving a book, it doesn't matter how long it takes me because I'm enjoying it. Like, the last Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac took me forever to get through because it's 700 pages and I was like taking my time with it. But like, I didn't care because I was enjoying it. Like, I wanted to get to other books, but I was like, I also don't want to rush through this. Whereas this one, I was like, when are you going to end? Where's the ending? So I think that that fully means that this is a 3-star. So sorry. Now, there is room at the end for a second book, and I believe that a second book is in fact coming out. Am I gonna read it? I don't know. And I think that that is what like really solidified the 3-star, because I don't know, honestly, if I'm gonna read book 2. Like, I don't truly care enough to be able to say like I'm definitely reading it, but I'm also like, but I kind of want to know what the heck was going on there. There was also some other things at the ending which I'm now remembering. Number one, there are 2 epilogues, and that kind of just seems ridiculous, but I think it was like one from each point of view or something. And this book does something that a lot of romance has done in the past, but now in our society, we're kind of like, why was that needed? So I won't tell you like what happens, but you could probably guess. But something happens at the end of this relationship, and it just really didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for them with what's going on in their lives. It didn't make sense for health reasons. It just made no sense for that to be happening. And also, I didn't really love the way that she finds out. It seemed a little bit like dubious consent, if you ask me. But that's just me. That's just me. And then there is a bonus chapter, which I don't know if it's like just in this edition, because I did not look at my KU edition to see if it was included in that. Because for the last like 60 pages of the book, I was listening and reading along in the physical copy. But in my copy, at least, there is a bonus chapter that is from Vaud's point of view during the ball. And he comes across something, which is like, you know, leaves the breadcrumbs for book 2, which like I definitely found interesting and was like, I don't know if I'm gonna read book 2 or not now. But what was interesting is like they are looking for someone. He stumbles across this and he leaves because like, you know, he just like has a bad feeling. But like, what if that was where that person was? You know, like, I don't know. It's just like, you don't know that the person's not there. So that was weird. So yeah, I think 3 stars. So let's quickly go through all the books that we read in this episode, which is amazing, by the way. We read 4 books, which I have not done. The most I've done is 3, but I'm really proud of myself. Like, good job. Good job. So let's go through them, remind you the ratings, and what the plans are for if we're keeping them or reaping them. So, Wicked Little Rabbit by Samantha Moran. I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars. I do plan on reaping it. I think I'm going to put it in like a little free library, but I also could sell it to a used bookstore. But I'm definitely going to be putting a post-it note in here of like a warning, you know, just so they know what they're getting themselves into. Then we read The Star of the Show, which is The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. This book got 5 out of 5 stars, and I am definitely keeping this book on my read shelves. Then we read Haunted Detroit by Nicole Beauchamp. This book got 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm technically reaping this book just because it's going to either my mom or cousin next for them to read. And then finally, Gothikana by RuNyx. I've been going back and forth. Like, it is beautiful, but I didn't really care about it, and I definitely don't plan on rereading it, so I think I have settled on reaping this book. I think for this one, I'm going to put it in my library summer reading store for somebody to get their hands on, because it was a time. It was a time, but I don't think I need to keep it. Alright guys, thank you so much for checking out this episode of Read 'em or Reap. Don't forget to keep reading, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!